Hey everybody, welcome back to The Pressing Matters. I'm Scott. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support. Yeah, my voice is a little hoarse because I've been sick for 4 days. The video, though, that I did for Decca Pure Analogue was made a week prior to that. So I was feeling better then. But, you know, I just released the video 2 days ago. And to my surprise, almost 6,000 people have watched it. Over, I think, in like a day and a half. That's crazy. I'm glad, of course, but I'm surprised that a classical oriented video would garner so much attention. So obviously, interest is very high in this. In the video, I promised to make a sonic comparison between an original pressing of one of the titles, The Rite of Spring, Sir Georg Solti and the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, recorded in 1974 in Medina Hall. I've had this original for a while. I thought it was minty, but I soon found out it wasn't. It actually has a major problem on side 2. But I was able to still do this comparison, but I realized that this is not staying in the collection. I either have to replace it or just make do with the Decca Pure Analogue. They do sound different. And I really focused on the first half of side 1, where the dynamics and the big moments and the quiet moments all kind of come together and can tell you everything you need to know about this record. This was engineered by Kenneth Wilkinson with James Locke. A really, really talented team. And it's always been held in high regard, at least sonically, for the Rite of Spring. I have many, many versions of this. I just pulled this one out because it is kind of from the same family, the Emil Berliner Studios. That's the Deutsche Grammophon original source version by Claudio Abbado, the London Symphony Orchestra. I did a review of it. You can watch that if you like. But when I look through my categories or my categorization of my collection, I noticed I had one from Telarc. I had the Bernstein 1963. I had Monteau on RCA. I had a Stereo Treasury with Monteau as well. What else? Oh, I have versions, I think Leibowitz in the Reader's Digest set. Yeah, I got a lot of versions of these. I think I have about 10. So I'm going to have to save all that to the time I have to listen to all of those and kind of tell you what my favorites were and how they differ. But, you know, this record sounds different than this record. And what you might prefer is a matter of taste. The original is warm, big, huge sounding, with growling deep bass, highs that go up but don't reach up to the heavens. It's slightly rolled off, in my opinion. The dynamic range is exceptional. It's very, very good. And it has a sense of mystery about it, I will say. It doesn't reveal too much, just enough for the impact, for the thrills, and for the beauty. What I mean by that is, when I switched to the original source, it became very apparent that the technique that the mastering engineer, Rainier Maillard, uses at Emil Berliner Studios is something that draws out everything. This record is like you have a forensic microscope on the tape. It's like you flooded the stage with light, bright light. I'm not saying it's a bright recording or a bright mastering. I'm just saying you can see and hear everything that's on that tape. And this is an approach that I know a lot of people love. I like to hear it too, but it is different than the original. The original keeps some of its secrets in check. It doesn't reveal everything like this. This has highs that extend way up further than the London pressing. And that's a UK pressing, by the way. The bass is about the same on each. It's a bit more defined on the original, the Decca Pure Analogue. The sense of width and depth is much better on the Decca Pure Analogue. It's quite noticeable. I felt like when listening to the London that, Medina Hall must be kind of compact, smaller, and not that deep. But when I got to the original, the Decca Pure Analogue, I realized that might not be the case. Now, I've never been in the hall, so I can't say. But there was definitely an increase in width and depth and separation of instruments. Everything is audible here. And that comes with a price. The Decca Pure Analogue has what I would call a lot of extraneous detail. Things that maybe some people would want to hear, but maybe some would not. I'm talking about things like keys clicking, pages shuffling, chairs creaking and moving. All that stuff is revealed in high detail. So I noticed in the quiet sections in the beginning that was a little annoying to listen to, or a little distracting, I should say, not annoying. It was fascinating to listen to it. I was like, wow, how are they drawing all this detail out of this tape? And it's not really there on the London. When you go back to the London, you're like, they kind of like hid that or didn't bring it out. Maybe more of a balancing act of kind of like giving you enough detail for impact, but not so much where it's distracting. So, it was like that throughout the whole record. Now, the surfaces are way better, so that does help for all this detail to come out. This London pressing, which has a W in the dead wax, by the way, is probably going into the trade-in pile because it's just too noisy. But it does have a character about it that I think fans of vintage recordings would like. It's a little rounded. It doesn't reveal everything, as I said. It's still deep, still has impact. It still has some extension. And, it's a thrill to listen to. You can turn it up pretty loud, but then the surface noise starts to intrude. So the choice is not that hard to make. For $39.95, you get a visceral, dynamic as hell, big sounding, wide sounding version of this that just kind of blows you away. But that detail might stand out to some people. And once you hear it, it's kind of hard to not hear it. So it's like a forensic microscope on the tape. And it's sort of similar to what I remember with this, although this was a cleaner sounding recording overall. It didn't have so much of that extraneous detail, but it was big and visceral as well. I'm not going to comment on the performance differences. I have my favorites, and one of them is the Bernstein 1963, but the sound is not that great. So I think for the price, this is executed really well. If you like the type of sound that was going into the original Source series, you're bound to love this. Detail aficionados will really, really enjoy this. And people that want a big explosive sound are going to be very pleased with the Decca Pure Analogue. Honestly, I'm not sure I'm going to replace my original pressing, although I find it interesting how different they can be. I'm satisfied with this, and I'm going to stick with this for my permanent collection. As I go through things, I'm starting to downsize. I don't need multiple copies of things, and I think this will be okay for me for now. That's my thought on the Rite of Spring. Thank God my voice held out. Let me know what you think in the comments, and until next time, I'm Scott for the Pressing Matters. Have a great day.